that they were describing, like, was it the parent was describing a picture that the non-speaking was looking at, and the parent wasn't in the room.
Yeah.
And they were describing the picture with a...
And they could do it over and over with
Yeah.
accuracy. They've had 5 cameras going in some of these cases. They're like trying to make sure that there's no
can't see
possible
nothing, yeah.
contamination of like being able to communicate in any way.
Which is wild, because again, everybody has those moments, right? Or it's like, again,
Just like you just talked about.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, I'm thinking a dollar. And I was like, whoop. I was like, what the hell? Everybody's had those moments. I've had many of those times where like I was like, oh, you know.
And how weird on that phone call is when I told you about that podcast.
Yeah.
How weird.
Yeah, I know. And then, like I said, there's times when you're just like looking and you're like, oh, I should text this person to see how they're doing. All of a sudden, like, whoop, what you doing? You're like,
whoa,
what?
I know. Yeah, dude. And there's so many of those kind of things. And it really, hearing all of that, it seems like it's something probably ancestrally innate to us. Like we once upon a time had some more abilities, and it seems like you can tune it in. So what was fascinating. So there's a couple of things. If you're not into Joe Rogan, go check out her podcast. I don't know how great it's going to be. I just started. I'm on the first episode. Yeah. But the things that are going on is unbelievable. They have these things called hills, where they meet on the hill, right? And they know there's like one in Houston, and they call them Houston. They never clarified. I was waiting for them to say, is it somehow physically in Houston? Because it seems like this is beyond a physical space.
Yeah.
Like they all meet. So there's like these giant ass conventions where non-speakers like this go, where they're communicating. There's people fucking giving lectures. Like they're having all these experiences completely outside of their body. So their struggle in regular everyday life is they can't control their body.
Yeah.
But then they have this like whole other dimension, this whole other side of them that's open, which is like consciousness, and that it's all connected. And so they have these giant things like hills where they all meet.
Yeah.
And they can talk, they learn from people, they can describe people that are halfway across the world, and they're having all these interactions. And what was really fascinating to me about this is that there was one guy who was, what do they call him, neurotypical, like me and you. Like he's not a non-speaker, and he focused and worked and was able to go to the hill.
Yeah.
And like talk with them. And for him, it was very different, especially at first. Like when he first started, it was bits and pieces of audio.